There. Hi, Thirsty friends. I'm Shari, and welcome to season 2 of Thirsty and 30, a blinding the blind chat show on Smarter Love. But we are not live tonight, but welcome. Hi, Bea.
Hi, Shari, and hi, everyone that will be watching this tomorrow. I'm Bea. So, Shari and I have actually made the mistakes before so that you don't have to. And the last couple of months, we have been researching for you. And I'm really excited about tonight, Shari, because we'll be talking about one of the, I guess, hot topics that we get on direct message, which is pretty much the road to marriage and second chances.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've done second chances, but the road to marriage is definitely far,
Malayo.
and we malayo pa. It's like the pandemic; it's never gonna end. It's not gonna
Mm.
happen.
Wow,
But
nega.
I'm going through a crisis. But okay, tonight we have two amazing guests that will give us a little bit of insight in this. We have Bea Fabregas and Nico Ramos. Yeah, I'm
Let's
excited.
bring them in. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hi,
Hi.
hi. Thanks for having
Thanks for
us.
having us. We're so
No,
excited.
no pressure
Are
or
you
anything.
ready?
No, I felt
No.
pressured after the intro. Feel like
Oh,
Well,
there's this
yeah,
pressure
well,
on us to have things figured out.
oh,
well, at least
I'm sure
all
you're
these
better
has
than us.
you have the pre-parenting glow, the pregnancy glow. So,
Thanks. I've been working on it.
oh. Okay, so we always start with a bit of an icebreaker. So tonight our
Sure.
icebreaker is, what is the best and worst love advice that you've ever gotten in your life?
Um, the worst one, I've had a bunch of bad ones. From whether it's from watching it in movies or on TV, or hearing it from friends who I believe are probably common friends that we have. But the one bad one that I've gotten is probably when someone once told me na, "Hindi, kung di mo pa masyadong love, okay lang. You'll learn to love them." Like parang you
Mm.
learn to love someone. Like you learn to fall deeper in love with someone, even if you don't love them so much right now. And I don't think that's necessarily uncommon. I think that a lot of people, settle for that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't had love in your life for a long time, if you have a little bit of it, you think na, hindi, mag-intensify ito, or this is gonna grow, this is gonna deepen. I'm sure it's happened to some people, but in my life
Yeah,
experience, that's just been bad advice.
it's
I
interesting.
think for me naman, it's not. It's super different. It's more of like it's involved with parang everything that's surrounding your life. Like somebody told me that, it's okay that you have your own little world. It's okay that you guys are figuring things out on your own. And because like I've had issues before na parang I can shut down, and I had somebody like actually encourage that it's okay. And parang I realized na parang hindi.
Mm.
parang parang it needs to agree with other aspects of your life. So I've had like situations like that na parang pinipilit ko na parang yeah, it's like us against the world. And nobody can F with that, and it's gonna be completely fine. So I think that's, I wouldn't say the worst, but it's like top of mind. It was pretty bad life advice that I went with for a long time, and I was just like, yeah, no, you know, love conquers all, mga ganon. And then you realize it's
Hindi
not love
totoo
pala.
yun.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
Uh,
hindi pala siya love, or you're fighting for something else. It's pride. I don't know.
yeah.
So parang yun yung worst for me. Mm.
We
How
have
about the
also
best?
another.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's say go ahead.
Best.
Oh, best?
Mm.
Um, Best love advice that I've gotten, and it's biased because obviously it worked for me. I think that's kind of like parang the qualifier naman for any good or bad advice, diba? Is if it actually worked for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the best love advice I think I've gotten is to fight, like to fight for it, to like to
Mm.
bear it, to endure it, to fight for it if you have to, but I guess just not to quit on it. Um, the important thing there is obviously you have to identify, is it really love, diba? Like parang what Bea said, diba? She was parang fighting for it, and then turns
Yeah.
out sometimes we all realize, diba? Ay, hindi pala love yun. But yeah, once you find it, once you kind of are able to objectively identify it, na hindi, love talaga to eh. The
Mm.
best advice I've gotten is to just not quit on it.
I mean, how do I add to that?
I know. Asa kinikilig na naman
Yeah.
ako every time we have a couple year. Ayoko na. Hindi ko na kaya.
Ako, I can't add to that. Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
I can't add to that. I'll
Okay.
be honest. Yeah,
Okay.
that was good
So
answer. Babe. Good job.
before we dive in, though, we always have like this little quick icebreaker lang that we ask most people. What's your go-to landi move?
Text.
Okay. Wala, hindi ka
Ah,
mag-text.
mas
He's
ah,
very good with words.
mas magaling ako
Oh.
mag-text kesa sa may phone call ganun.
Yeah, he's
I was born at the right time. I was born at the right time. Parang
Dati snail mail yung ano mo, galaw mo.
yeah, or like
Verbal.
parang our parents na telebabad, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang
Beepers.
our
Beepers.
older cousins or siblings, diba, na telebabad yung go-to nila. No, I'm a little better with text.
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Ako naman I like conveniently being there if I know the person is gonna be there.
Oh!
Pre-pandemic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if I have a feeling that that person's gonna be there, like I mean I
Oh,
won't.
dito ka din?
Oo, hindi naman ako ganyan, but like I like to make my presence felt.
What are the chances?
Oo.
What are the
Tama.
chances? We're
Or
both
parang
here.
super pakipot or
Yung hindi ka
yeah,
marunong
just
mag-swimming pero nasa Splash Island ka rin. Ano yung,
Yeah.
uy, dito ka pala.
sobrang layo, sobrang out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a couple of those. I like just being there. Medyo papansin, pero I mean, okay
Mm,
lang.
I like
You
that.
gotta make it convenient for the
Yeah.
lender. I think it has, especially men, kailangan make it easy for them, diba? Kailangan accessible minsan, but not too accessible.
Not yeah. Parang,
It's a
make your
balance.
presence felt. Hello.
I'm here, pero, you know.
How do you do that now? Ano yun? How do you do
I
that now? Just like
know. It's
post
just
on their friends feed.
Instagram. Poll ka sa Instagram na feeling masasagot siya. What's your favorite
Yes.
burger? Mga ganun.
I
Mga
think
ganun.
people communicate online through stories now and stuff like that.
That's true. That's how
Yeah.
they slide in. Mhm.
Okay, just wait for me later. Mga 100 stories. Ipopost ko. Shoot and spray. Okay, so tonight we have a three-parter. We usually like break it down for people that are so and need advice. So the first thing we'll do is your meet cute story. Everyone loves to hear those things. And then the second is the fork on the road or the challenges that you go through. And the last is after happily ever after. So I'll start first with how did you both meet?
I met Bea at the radio station. So that's where we met at Magic. She was a junior jock at the time, a student DJ, and I was working at Magic, but only a year or so removed from being a junior jock myself. So it's
Kaka-hire.
not some creepy employee intern situation. I realized how creepy it sounded as soon as I said
Yeah.
it. But that's how
Newly
we met.
hired. Yes.
I was at the time I was the youngest and the newest DJ at Magic, and they were the latest batch of junior jocks.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah,
Um,
and that was years ago. That was
2011.
2011.
Wow.
And yeah, but we like among the DJs, like we never spoke, as in super zero, nothing. I felt like there was nothing in common. Like I do not get along with this guy. So I kind of just I kind of got closer to the other DJs, that and would guest on their shows, ganon. But with him, as in super zero.
Yeah, not even as friends. Kasi like,
Yeah.
parang there was very little kasi like parang the misconception I think with people who work at radio is that people think that we're all together all the time. You actually only see two other employees whoever comes before you and whoever comes after you, because
Mm-mm.
you're only doing your shift, diba? So there
Yeah.
weren't necessarily a lot of opportunities, if any, for me to be around the people that we were training. Because at that time I was working weekends or
Yeah. So
graveyard.
super kanya-kanyang buhay talaga.
So like
Yeah.
parang we didn't necessarily, we knew of each other, we had been introduced, but it wasn't until years later that we even became friends.
Super close. Like
Uh,
2014.
So
Like
noong 2011 when you met, wala pang romantic anything?
what?
wala, no.
Wala pa.
Super zero. He had a girlfriend and I was with somebody.
That's why it's
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
why it's really that's why it's, I mean, for people who are single, that's what I always say. Like parang you don't know. It could be someone you met a couple
Yeah.
of years ago and that you know have gone a full year, 2 years without having a single thought about. Tapos eventually down the line yung pala yung mapapangasawa mo. Because that was essentially what happened with us. Like we met in 2011 and then kind of, I wouldn't even call us friends up until
Yeah.
like years later.
Yeah.
And then you got
Okay.
together what year na?
2017.
Wow, ang
So we
tagal.
had
So
a
you know,
long journey to discuss if you
Oh,
really
grabe.
want to
So
like
nung,
get into it.
so nung
Yeah.
finally you guys got together, we always get actually we get two sides of this advice. Some people say na you should always be looking for love or be mindful
Mhm.
about finding the one, while others say na don't look for love, it will come
Don't look for it.
eventually. So the both of you,
Yeah.
when you guys fell in love, were you both looking for love actively?
No, we
Um
were looking for opportunity at that point.
yeah, we were very like we were very absorbed in our careers and work. And I think when Nico and I really felt parang actually we were radio partners in 2014 and it was completely platonic. And but the thing is we did the morning show. And so I was kind of nervous actually because prior to that, like we'd talk, but I was just like, I need to have like some sort of relationship with this guy because I'm gonna wake up every single morning. He's gonna be the
Yeah.
first face I see, and then it's very awkward. Parang antok
Mm.
ka pa, ganon. So I was really nervous entering that situation. And then yun parang what happened when the first week we worked together, we realized that we got along so well. So it was so weird na parang, we worked at the same station and like, we'd be in meetings and we'd, be seeing each other, but like we never had the opportunity to just really get to know each other. So I don't
Mm.
think yeah, so when we were we when we did the show, it was really like a friendship na parang solid parts ko to. As in, it was really
Uh-uh.
like but the show got split up because whatever for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
then that's when I kind of felt like, oh, parang I feel like there's like something missing in my life. You know what I
Ay,
mean? Like,
cute.
yeah,
Yes.
parang I miss Nico. That's
Yeah.
that's when I felt like, okay, something's up because like why am I craving for conversation with him, or is it just because I would see him every day so nasanay ako? But we weren't even partners for that long. We were only partners for like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So parang I was like, why is this like bond so strong? And then
Mm.
when we see each other, parang after a long time, and syempre we'd miss the show, parang yung hug, parang parang iba. I would overthink the hugs, but like he had a girlfriend, and
Again, that
Okay.
makes it sound a lot creepier
no,
than
then
it
we'd be like,
actually was.
parts, it's so nice to see you. How are you? You know what I mean? And then
Mm.
parang I was just like, "Parang there's a linger." And then
You were single. You were single
I was
then, Bea.
single, but he was
You were
with
single,
some.
but Nico was okay with
Yeah.
someone.
So parang syempre you're not really like overthink, you're not really like thinking of it too much. But I knew that something was up because I really was craving his company. So I was just like, shit, baka I like him na. Parang ganun.
Mm.
So that's really how I figured out na it was more than friendship. But after we started working together na, if that makes sense. Parang when I was removed from the situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
And Nico,
yeah.
did you feel the linger or no? It was
Yeah.
because you were just completely like this was
Oh no, no,
platonic.
no, no. See, I think that that's kind of like parang if there's any advice, like parang back to the question, like parang should you be looking for love actively at all times, or should you just kind of like parang go live your life, wait for it to happen? But I would kind of say to be much more present and be much more aware of one, how ready you are as a person to actually, because there's falling in love, right? No one's ever
Yeah.
ready for that, right? um
Yeah.
Even though we think we are, and even though we want it, like para actually truly falling in love, it's not real if you're prepared for it, diba?
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
the the real love, the true love, the parang the one that you're gonna parang tell your grandkids about, it's supposed to catch you off guard.
Yeah.
Like parang, I'm not just saying that to be corny or whatever, right? But that's what
Yeah.
it's supposed to do. Like parang it's supposed to shove you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but being ready for a relationship
Yeah.
is something that you can prepare for. So that's what I guess my answer to that would be. Like parang you have to be present in like parang, okay, if love does find me, or okay, if I do find like parang love or someone that I love, like am I ready to process that, to handle that, to
To
let go,
commit to that.
of other stuff
Yeah.
for that? Because that was
Yeah.
my situation then. Like I was with someone else. I knew like parang there was a part of me that knew na parang okay, like parang what I have with Bea is obviously special. It's different. It's not something you should have when you're in a relationship with someone else, right? Like parang you shouldn't be parang thinking of anyone else.
Yeah.
But I mean that was when, and when did we get together, right? I mean the time that passes in between, we got to a point where I became single, but she was with someone else.
My
There's
God, this is
like parang
crazy.
the
Yeah.
multiverse, like parang diba? Like parang all the other multiverses were not together. We missed our
Yeah.
window because for a time I wasn't ready for it. For a time she wasn't ready for it, or we weren't, like parang our windows just didn't sync.
Yeah.
Um, and we just like parang it's just really fortunate na parang 2017, like parang we just we finally decided, like parang both of us decided. But should I have made that decision much earlier? Yeah, sure, of course, diba? Like parang should
Mhm.
she have made that decision later on? Yeah, sure, of course. Like that would have been great, diba? But like
Mm-mm.
you don't tempt fate that often
Yeah.
and still win, diba? So the fact
Yeah.
that we kind of still wound up together is,
Really crazy.
yeah.
Super
I'm so
I'm
crazy.
so
intrigued
curious
though.
then.
How did that windows like the window are like both open or whatever the
So, well,
I think you have to create it. To be honest, you that's the lesson, like parang I think that we learned from this, right? And I don't know, like parang I'm a fan of parang time travel movies and things like that. They say, diba? I mean, it's a
yeah.
butterfly effect, diba? You change, like parang you push someone 3 inches in the past. If you travel back in time, all of a sudden parang World War III happens.
Yeah.
So we don't know if we would have ended up married now, expecting our baby, if we got together earlier.
yeah.
Maybe not, diba? Kasi gago pa ako nun eh, 'di ba? Parang
Mensch.
immature pa ako nun eh, 'di ba? Parang wasn't ready to kind of like,
Paanong gago?
I mean, okay, in a nutshell, I knew that I liked him. And he knew that
Mhm.
he,
Yeah.
was attracted to me, but he was in a relationship. So he wasn't sure if like, okay, like is what I'm feeling for her, is that something that I should just jump and pursue, because there's nothing technically wrong with where I am right now. So
Mm.
his current relationship, parang ako din wala rin ako masabi about that relationship. I met her, syempre because we were working together. So I knew her.
Yeah.
And so, but I think when like I think when it was kind of established that, I mean, there was some flirting, but it wasn't like you don't know
Yeah.
what it was. I confronted him at one point now because I was single, eh. So I was just
Mm.
like, "Are you like what's this? Because this is not who I am." You know what I mean? Like that's not. I'm not gonna wait around. It's either like we try this out, or you really respect where you are. And so
Yeah.
he was kind of back and forth with that
Mm.
with me, very honestly, na parang as in with ano talaga, parang I love you, but like I don't know. May mga ganon. So syempre parang
What's your
grabe.
advice for people in that same situation, Bea? Because I'm sure there are people in this situation na parang, this is the thing. They always,
I
with
mean,
men,
inamin mo na
yeah.
naman nagago siya.
No,
So
like
that
the advice is leave.
yeah. So what I did
The
was
Leave.
advice
I
is
Okay.
run.
I said I was just like enough. Enough is enough. As in I
Yeah.
was just like, you know what? It's a bad situation to be exposed to. It hurt me like crazy cuz
Yeah.
I never, yun nga, I never felt a friendship and a connection and an attraction to anybody the way I had with him. It was really so different from everything that I'd ever been with. And
Wow.
I mean, of course I was like 23, but I was just like, this is hitting me hard.
Yeah.
And it got pretty bad, na parang, yun yung mga, what I said earlier, like my lande, like I'd be conveniently in a place where I shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Na parang, and we're all in radio, so it was a very small circle. So I was exposing myself to like situations na, bakit pa? 'Di ba? Masasaktan
Yeah.
ka lang naman eh, 'di ba? Like
Oo.
andyan siya, andyan yung girlfriend niya. O, tas
Mm.
andyan ka lang, 'di ba? Parang and then you're just okay with it. So it was just
Yeah.
so like exhausting. And so I just said enough. Like after a few months, I was just like, it's not meant to be, detached na ako. And I
Mm-mm.
met someone. I met someone a few
Mm.
months after that. Um,
This is
and
ridiculous. This
yeah, so
story.
when
Yeah.
yeah, when I met somebody, I was just like, at first I was doubtful, but then I was
Mm.
genuinely attracted to that person. And I was just like, okay, baka naman pala na parang OA lang ako. You know what I mean? Set that aside na. So when I was in that relationship, I was like, okay, I can't do parang I have to commit to this. It's not fair to this person. 'Di ba? So I really just like, okay, forgot. Bye. Ganon. I was like,
Yeah.
and I really I mean, we're married and I can say this. He knows this. I fell in love with that person, that next person. And that
Yeah.
person was going to propose. Like that's how bad it was. Yes, it was very 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 intense. And when I was with that person, parang when we'd see each other at work things, yun, mangangamusta siya. And
Mm.
then, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? Na parang it was very like, but you had a shot and you missed it. So, no more na. And then, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like anything, but it was just like, parang may lambing, or how are you? May mga ganon.
Um,
But never,
Yeah.
never, we were, we respected
yeah.
our current relationships. But
Yeah.
parang there was a push and pull. So that's how our windows were just kind of like super
Yeah.
whack, super duper whack. But my breakup with that person was really because of the issues that was attached to that relationship. There really
Nothing
were
to
a
do
lot.
with him.
Okay.
Voila.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
that's another story on its own. Like, there was some abuse in there, and like it was toxic, super toxic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious about that though. About toxic relationships. How do you like get out of it? How do
get
you
out.
like
Yeah, no,
okay.
it was really like parang that's what I was talking about, your own little world. And you think that you can make
Mm.
it better. You think that you
Mm-mm.
can,
Yeah.
you're fighting for it, and you feel something real for this person, like genuine care.
Mm.
But you're a shell of yourself. You're like actually
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So when that ended, so he broke up with his girlfriend like on a separate month.
Okay.
And then my relationship ended siguro a few months after that in 2016. So that was the first year we were both
Both
single.
single.
And it was just like, he was just like, okay, let's go. This is it. This is our
Yeah.
window. Like, parang what are we waiting for? Let's just jump. And then ako naman, teka lang, parang I'm recovering from this very intense situation, and
Yeah.
you had your shot 2 years ago. Like, why are you here? It was kind of like that. Parang
Yeah.
I really did care for you. I really did love you, but like, is it the same? am I the same person to from 2 years ago? And then he was just, he was very like, I believe in what we had, and like I think we have to like explore it. So
Mm.
that is kind of like how
Wow.
our windows met in 2016. But before that, there was just really like
And we didn't like officially start dating till 2017. So
17.
even like parang without other people, just the two of us, the lesson we learned is like parang, oh, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Mm.
Like parang just because at the time availability was kind of like our only hurdle. And obviously we were much younger. So we always kind of like parang initially it was Bea who was thinking na parang, if single ka lang, single naman ako eh. And we date, we'd be fine. And
Yes.
then when I was single and she was with someone else, I was like, I'm single now. Like parang, too bad you're not single. If you were, then
It would have been
like
fine.
it'd be great. And
Yeah.
then we were both
Yeah.
single for almost like parang a full year and still couldn't really make it
Di pa
work.
rin. Why? What was
Pero
the...
Nico, what were you feeling though when Bea had a new relationship and it was
Tell the
toxic?
truth.
And I know feeling, but like, what was going through your head? You're like, oh, shit, I fucked up. Like,
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. No, like parang because I mean not to disparage anyone who's not here and can't defend themselves, no,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mm-mm.
And kami, it's easy for us to kind of sit here married and say like, oh, kami, no hard feelings kami towards our exes or
Yes.
whatever. Diba? I'm not sure na parang they see this watch and be like, no hard feelings. Diba?
Yeah.
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 But, so I guess with respect to people who aren't here,
Yeah.
my feeling at the time was, oh, I screwed up. Like parang I missed out. Because they were really serious. Like parang I knew the
Mm.
guy she was dating. Like parang I
Yeah.
knew him before
And
they knew each
and
other.
Susie like informed him like, oh, he's gonna propose.
Yeah. So
Get over it.
I was like,
Oh.
oh, okay. All right. No, like parang like parang the ship has sailed. Like parang
Yeah.
I'm gonna be one of those
Mm.
guys. Like parang this happens to people, diba? Like parang you have your chance with someone. So a big part of me was like parang super disappointed in myself because I knew it was my fault, diba?
Mm-mm.
And at the same
Mhm.
time, because I didn't know that like parang her relationship was toxic or
Yeah,
whatever.
I wouldn't share naman with him like when we'd see each other at work stuff. If he'd ask how are you, I'm not, you know what I mean, to respect the relationship I was in. He didn't know anything that I was going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parang
So
ganon.
so a huge chunk of me was, well, at least she's happy. You know what I mean? At least she's happy. She's in a stable relationship. I know that guy.
Mm.
That guy is like parang madly in love with her. And
Yeah.
it seems like parang they're gonna get married soon. So I'm like parang cool. Okay. I stuck around in this relationship and missed out on that. There must be now it's just my pride talking. Diba? Like parang
Yeah.
well, if I chose to stay here, then this has to work now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, to the people who aren't here and cannot defend themselves, the
Yeah.
person I was in a relationship with didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like nothing wrong. Like parang just overall
Just
nice
was
person.
just wasn't the one.
Yeah.
I
The
just,
connection. I think when
yeah,
I just
but
hear you guys, yeah.
yeah, but like parang I mean, fine to be around. Like parang
Mm.
above average companion. You know what I mean? Like parang it
Yeah.
Yeah.
wasn't like I wasn't in a toxic relationship in a sense that we weren't fighting all that. I mean, you guys have experienced this, I'm sure. Those are the toughest relationships to get out of, diba? Yung wala kayong pinag-aawayan. You're not mad about anything. You're not excited about anything either. But it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
diba?
So that was his
Mm.
kind of
Yeah.
relationship.
So when like parang when that's why when eventually they broke up, I was like, well, I mean, crap, man. Like parang I don't know how many times this movie is gonna play, and the
Yeah.
movie's starting now. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch this movie now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was very aggressive, like right after our breakup. I mean, my breakup. Diyan na siya. So you can imagine that maybe that was, to your question, the fork in the road.
Yeah.
There was just so much baggage from this push and pull and this like, andito ako nun eh. Pero wala eh. You have to understand. I couldn't give you what you wanted at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, when we were both single, it was just kind of like just me. I think in the beginning, it was a lot of me saying, like, you deserve to wait and you deserve to like let me figure it out. And in that
Yeah.
process, I would allow my ex to try and win me back.
Yeah.
So he would witness like all of that kasi single ako eh. So parang as in ganon.
Pwede, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But no, it's not that like, me seeing him one night and then him asking, "Oh, can we go out tomorrow?" And I say, "No, sorry, I'm seeing as in that person's name." As in ganon. Syempre
Yeah.
that, that takes a toll on you
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that hurt him.
Mm-mm.
And
Yeah.
then nung siya naman yung nasaktan, ako parang, "Oh, what are you yapping about? Like, why are you so hurt?" Like, you know what I mean? So it was just a very, very long road
Push and
to
pull or push.
stability. But
Yeah.
we love each other. Parang
Mm.
I
Yeah,
love
but
you always.
did you feel like you kind of somehow had to teach him a lesson or get back at him at some way? Parang
Oh yeah, like I really was just it wasn't out of spite, but it was more of
Yeah.
like let me process this what
Mm.
I'm going through right now. You can't just show up and just be like, I love you and finally like yes, you know what I mean? And he was
Yeah.
so happy that we were single and I was just like I just came out of a very
Yeah.
traumatic experience. So let me process that. And then you know what he would naman. But I think it
Yeah.
was more of like there would be times talaga na I was so broken that syempre him then he would think, well maybe maybe we missed our window. Maybe we missed our shot, 'di ba? Parang baka namimilit na kami at this point. You know what I
mm,
Mm.
mean? Because you're
yeah.
just like, ang
It's been
dami-daming
long,
pinagdaanan ako.
five years
This is
or
such a long time. So like,
yeah.
come on guys, ganon. So yeah, so parang that was really like the struggle.
Mm.
That's why when people ask like, "Oh, how did you guys start?" We don't know how. It has to be in this setting. We don't know how
Yeah.
to answer the
Like how much
question.
time you have?
Yeah, how much time do you have? Because it's like, because people are like, "Oh, you guys, you guys get along so well. You guys are like, you guys don't fight. You're super pleasant, and you guys are so chill." Like when nung kami na
Mm.
talaga, like
Mm-mm.
we were just like that easygoing, no
Yeah.
problems at all. But prior to
It's
that,
the
oh my
getting
god, it
there
was
that
like
was
it's like
so
yeah,
so
it was like we were climbing
yeah.
a mountain, then falling off it, then having to climb it again.
So
Yeah.
Nico,
So
how
Usually
did
that
you stay cool and
sorry,
stay so
usually
patient?
that
Right,
no,
go
I'm
ahead.
just wondering because usually that part in the start is actually the easy part, right? When you're
Mm.
dating and getting to know each other. But yours was obviously a little bit more, not a little bit, really complicated. And I
Yeah.
wonder, like, how do you DTR that kind of complication?
What does that mean? Sorry.
How did you
define the
define the
relationship.
relationship
Yeah, like
when you
Ah,
determine.
you
finally
ano,
like
Yeah.
you go
nag-match na
through
kayo?
the book. Like I remember parang in 2017 when we finally started dating and then the first month that we were official. Like parang we really celebrated because we were like umabot na tayo ng 1 month. Because in 2016 like parang we tried like
Yeah,
parang
we got together.
every other month kami na. And
Tapos
then
nagbe-break
2
kami.
weeks later parang
Break na kami.
the break kami because I wasn't ready yet. Yeah. Like parang
Oh.
I remember this one breakup we had. Like parang Bea said like parang oh can you come over? I need to talk to you. And then so I was like okay. So as soon as I arrived, I remember like parang she stepped in. I remember the first thing I asked was are we breaking up again? And she was like yeah. And I go all right, cool. Like it had become something that you would expect. So yeah, so it was hard to define for us. It was hard to define. It was taxing for the people around us, for like parang
Yes,
our
our
friends. They didn't
friends.
know if they were finally gonna be happy for us
Cause
or they
we're,
were just
cause
sick
we're
of our
all, yeah,
drama.
cause we're all in the same circle.
So so
Um,
yun. And then I mean to Sherry's question, like parang I mean, how did I keep cool throughout all of it? Well, one, it's with the cognizance that I had done much worse when nung ako yung malabo.
Mm-mm.
And look, no one's keeping score here, right? And
Yeah.
but also I understood who Bea was, and I knew that whatever pain, inconvenience she may be causing onto me, it's not to settle some score. It's not the kind of like parang, hindi, bawi ako sa'yo. Diba? I knew it wasn't that. And I knew that regardless of how hard it was for me at the time, it couldn't have been easy for her also. Um, but there's, and not to say that parang, because there's nothing necessarily kind of like parang special or anything about it, about myself, right? But there's a stark difference kasi between, I guess, who I was a
Yeah.
few years prior and who I was when I was in that situation. So when we were in that situation in 2016, I I was the person I had to be to get us through it.
Right.
Um
The maturity jumped.
yeah, and like
Mm.
parang and for me, like parang like I said, like parang I've seen like parang diba? Like parang Doctor Strange in the movie, right? Like parang
Mhm.
I've seen the multiverse where we don't end up together. Like I lived it. Like I was convinced any day if I open Instagram would be the day that you would post your engagement ring because I have common friends with your boyfriend and I know he
Mhm.
has a ring in the house. Like parang I know he has it. He's just
Yeah.
like waiting for the right time. And like
Yeah.
parang every day on Instagram, I'm just like parang, oh, today's the day. So I'd seen that movie before. So I was like, well, I didn't like it. and enjoy that version of the film. And I have an opportunity. And if what it's gonna take is for me to kind of like endure this for
Yeah.
now, to get together on Tuesday, break up on Saturday, Wednesday maybe we're together again. I'm like,
So,
small price to pay. That's
Yeah.
just
so how did you reach the stability part na wala, hindi na kayo, tapos na kayo sa break tayo ngayon, balikan
So
tayo bukas?
um so obviously after I kept breaking up with him, medyo nasaktan din naman siya. I
Yeah.
mean he was, he was taking one for the team, but it was getting,
A
parang
lot.
nakikita ko
Yeah.
talaga naiiyak talaga siya, parang you know what I mean? And then
Mm-mm.
what was crazy pa is he was doing the morning show of Magic at the time, and I was doing the show right after him at 9 a.m. So it was just
Yeah.
like super hard in that sense. And so he asked, it came for it hit the point that he asked for space. Like he was just
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
love you, and I know we've been trying at this, but um this back and forth is taxing, and it's hurt me, and so I just
Mm.
need some time. And like I'm not saying that I'm going anywhere. Who's to say? I don't know, but it was a big question mark. Basically he was saying pagod na ako.
Mm.
And that was really ano to me na parang dun ako, like that was my most upset point, because I was just like, akala ko ba you were okay with me processing? And I yun nga, like what he said, like I wasn't doing things to spite him, but I had to live that out. He
Mm.
and imagine that whole time since we were single, we were never not talking, right? Itong
Mm-mm.
time hindi talaga kami nag-usap.
How
And so it was
long?
just I can't tell. Like, well, I mean, we'd see each other at work, but like there was no more like, hey, how was your day? You know what
oh,
I mean?
tapos nakita ko one time sa Guadalupe, papunta akong Revel.
Oh.
Tapos tumawag sa akin, where are you going? It's parang 12:30 is Guadalupe. Parang wala kang dahilan, di ba? Like, parang pareho kaming, oh, bakit ka na sa labas? Like, parang tas ako parang, so obviously going to Fort at
Yeah.
12:30 a.m. So parang,
Magda-drive-through?
Yeah.
uh,
So
gutom ako, recovery fee.
yeah. So may ganon. May ganon, parang he asked for space na. And so I had to like, it was so, parang that was a time for me to process na, okay, it's not just about me right now.
Yeah.
He's hurt na at this point kasi 2017 na yun, ang tagal na nun, 'di ba? Ang dami ng gabing away nun. Back and forth,
Mm.
nights out, nalasing ako, lasing siya. Like it was just like, and then
Mm-mm.
one day, what was the day na parang,
I think what was important for us was we stopped trying.
yeah.
Like
Ah,
parang we
okay.
stopped fixating on
Making it
actually like
work.
parang being boyfriend and girlfriend. We were
Yeah.
just like, and like I also kind of got to a point where like, look, like if you want to spend time with me, that's great. That's what I want. If you don't want to spend time with me, I'm also gonna stop asking how you spend
Yes,
your time
sure.
because I just probably won't like some of the answers. So like parang and then
And then after this period of silence, I distinctly remember this. We have a lot of events in our line of work, and it was a make your own Havaianas event,
Mm.
Mhm.
and he like had Havaianas for me, and I was just like, I thought we're not talking, but you have fine. He's like, hey, so I picked up na your Havaianas pair, and I'm like, what? So it was like something random like that got us to talk again, and then
Yeah.
we weren't like bringing up old stuff. And then then we just kept hanging out, and we weren't bringing up anything na, and we were just like, wala, parang there was kind of a ano again to it eh. Like medyo may kilig factor siya ulit kasi hindi kami
Yeah.
nag-uusap, 'di ba? So we were
Mm.
kind of like dating. Okay, parang finally like, kasi syempre when he asked for space, I was like craving for time with him bigla kasi bigla siyang nawala. So I
Yeah.
was just like
Mm.
panicking. So parang when he'd ask me out, I'd be like so ready, you know what I mean? And so yun, parang when we decided like our relationship anniversary, to be honest, like this is like swear to God, we never fought about our exes na after
Yeah.
we got together in 2017. Like it was just it. It was just like a new book, new chapter, and like I don't know how we got there, but we did from all the back and forth. Yeah. And
Wow.
syempre, I had to deal like on my end. I really had to like end things with like my ex and just
Yeah.
be like, this isn't gonna work. And that was that was a difficult conversation. But like, I really had to define that. And so ayun, June 2017. By the way, July 2016 ako naging single ha. So that was a full year.
Long. Yeah, that was a
Mm.
full year of that push and pull. Might have felt like probably long, long.
Oh, and our
Yeah.
friends were sick of it. Like sinakat,
I
like and
bet. Like, come
they were
on.
just like
Ano ba?
parang oo,
Naman.
alam ko parang may story kayo dito pero ay na, like come
Pagod
on
na.
guys, like, make up your mind. It was kind of like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so 2017 we became this very stable relationship all of a sudden.
I'm
Yeah.
curious though with that period of you like push and pull. What made I don't even know if you're gonna have an answer to this, but what made it work? Like that you got to the stable stage. Is it like giving each other space, or
I
is
think
it like
I
the
would
more
guess it was
you
the space, right?
no,
I
but like
mean
the more you
it's
want, the
everything.
more
I mean, look, we
yeah.
tried it all. We tried
Yeah.
space, we tried
Mm.
we tried relentless presence from both sides, from
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides.
Not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Oh, like parang we tried not
People
we tried not
also.
caring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like parang our friends were just kind of like parang itching for us to talk about anything else. I'm sure like parang had we mentioned even just a little bit of a whisper to our common friends na we're open to dating someone else. I'm sure nireto na nila kami sa ibang mga tao. They were just
Yeah.
Yeah,
tired
no,
of it.
because his friends were kind of like parang yeah, oh, mahal mo to, pero you guys can't figure it out. So, baka hindi naman talaga.
Yeah.
Like, so there were voices na, like, other people weighing in on it. And I think if there was anything that we were sure of, was
Yeah.
that we knew we were in love with each other. Like, that was clear. Like, as in,
Mhm.
like, clear. Like,
Mm-mm.
I love this person so much, but that's the crazy thing, diba? You can be so in love, but there
Yeah.
can just be so much going on around you guys, and sometimes it's just not that simple as one, two, three,
Yeah.
diba?
So that brings me to like our next part, the fork on the road. So my question is clearly based on what we've heard about the both of you, there is such a thing as right love but wrong time, right? So what's your advice to people who actually go through this whole I'm in love with this person, but it's just not clicking right now. When do they keep at it, or when is it time to like call it quits?
I think that's a important question that I feel like parang a lot of people ask themselves.
Yeah.
And I think the second important question is, why is it not clicking? And the one question we don't want to ask is it me? Like
Hmm.
like is it my fault? And like parang I think throughout our journey we can both look back at certain moments. Now, obviously, parang hindsight 2020. Now we can look back and kind of like parang what we're doing now. Actually, it is what we're doing. We're identifying points in the relationship where we're picking up blame,
Yeah.
and we're saying, gago kasi ako nito eh, natong time na to eh. Or, sobrang aggressive ko kasi at this point eh. Or, parang malabo kasi ako at this point eh. But when you're in that moment,
You don't know.
you don't. You blame everything else. You blame everything else, diba? You blame,
Yeah.
you blame your job, you blame your friends, you blame your family, you blame hang-ups from
Yeah.
your ex, you blame parang some type of routine you've developed with the person you're already with but maybe don't want to be with naman talaga. Like you blame everything.
Yeah.
Really the question is like parang what is it that I don't want to do but I should do or I can do to make this the right time, right? Like parang because
Mm.
your question is right love wrong time, diba? And I'm assuming by right love it actually is right
The
love.
right love.
Yeah.
And
And
yun, and like parang like I said, very very easily parang we don't end up here is because first try messed it up, second try
Mm.
messed it up, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 28 tries we keep messing it up, diba?
Yeah.
And diba, I mean I know that the topic is second chances on the show today, but like parang
You've got more than second chances, I
you,
think.
you got it right on 29 and just realized, well, okay, let's just not mess it up anymore because our track
Yeah.
record shows that we're much more prone to messing it up than getting it right. And the harsh reality is most people don't get two tries or
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
or so when you have it, when you find it, when you actually truly believe it is right love,
Yeah.
you fight.
I don't my advice is don't accept wrong time to be an excuse. Kasi
I like that.
kasi the right
Ay, ay, ay. Maraming may
the
hugot
right
dito.
time might
Pwede
not
kami.
come. The right time might not come.
Do you
Yeah.
think patience plays a part in it, or do you have to be aggressive? Because, I mean, just listening to your story, it's taken time, and patience would have played a part. But there's also a part where you have to like be more forward to make it work. What do you think?
I wish patience didn't have to be such an important requirement for our story. I mean, looking back
Yeah,
now, I wish that didn't have to kind of be the case. But
yeah.
it depends what you're patient for. Eh.
Hmm.
Like parang that year when we were both single, and this is my mistake. So to all the guys and girls out there who are listening, don't do this. But my mistake was I was telling Bea that I was telling her we're gonna get married.
Yeah. As in bagong breakup, he's like, we're getting married one day. And
I
I'm
was
like,
telling her name the kids.
yeah,
Wait, what
ganon.
year was this?
2016. Like right after my breakup,
Wow.
that's how aggressive he
I was
was.
like, name the kids.
This is it. This is our love. This is our window. This is our time. I can't wait. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, wait lang ha. Those were the
Yeah.
types of conversations we were having.
And again, obviously, I don't advise people to do that. But
Medyo shocking siya, guys.
that's that's how that's how convinced I was. That ito
Yeah.
na yan eh.
But
Siya
don't
na
you
eh.
think being that sure, like saying that statement, kind of put you gave you both some sort of security that you're like you know the intention that you're in it 100%. Don't you think that's sort of like fueled Ren that you guys were relentless into making this actually work?
You know, you'd think that, but
Yeah.
when you're so hurt and you're
Mm-hmm.
so clouded by everything that's happening,
Yeah.
parang sometimes there was a point na parang we thought, okay, maybe our love isn't enough because we're so broken na. But
Yeah.
so parang it's like it's having two completely separate like experiences at the same time. Like you're so broken but you love somebody so much. Like that's how I can explain, that's how I can describe us. Parang ang gulo-gulo, but like that was the one thing that was sure. And you will doubt in the moment kasi I don't feel this way for anyone, but we can't last a month. Like bakit ganito?
Oh my
So
god.
it was a very, yeah. So I mean I
Yeah.
think the patience part was of course we had to be patient with each other, and in general I guess we were patient because the
Mm,
first time I felt anything for him was 2014, and 2017
mm.
kami like nag-get
Oh,
together. But yeah, I think yeah, I think
But
it really.
yeah, my certainty helped my patience
Yeah.
because
because you
I was
knew.
because there's a difference between the love that you have and the relationship that you have, right? And I think that as people mature, single, married, whatever, that's something that most people at our age, having experienced what we've experienced, we now know well and
Mm,
understand well. Iba yung love, iba yung relationship, right? You could have a very stable relationship, but not
yeah.
not true life changing love. And you can be like parang what happened to us, so in love with a person, but you can't make the relationship part of it work. For me, it was much easier to be patient, although it wasn't necessarily easy, because I knew it was the relationship part we had to figure out. It wasn't the love part.
Yeah.
The love part we found.
Yeah.
The love, the person I had
Yeah.
found. We just
So
gotta figure out
yeah,
the details of it.
there was just some, thorns we had to get.
Kumbaga parang
Just some organization.
na-deliver, dumating na sa bahay yung shelf ko from IKEA. Dumating na
Oh,
siya.
Diba?
you,
Ang
you
cute.
have to. I love
It's been six
that.
hours. I haven't put it together yet, and the instructions confuse the shit out of me. But it's
Yeah.
fine. It's here. It's in my house.
Yeah.
I I'll figure this out. So that's a whole lot easier than, oh, I know how to build this thing, but where can I buy the thing?
Yeah.
That's the best metaphor I've ever had for a relationship or even life, really.
I
I mean,
know.
honestly, you already have that life or that thing or that relationship, but you just gotta work out. And the manual of IKEA is the worst thing. Like,
It
Yeah.
is.
Sorry,
just
we're
it just
furnishing a
doesn't.
nursery.
So
We're
baka
furnishing
that's
a
why.
baby room, so that's been our life experience the
Yeah.
past few
Yeah.
months.
I like
So
that.
it's been very, it was, that's why when you were asking us like, oh, what would you guys want to share? Parang yun nga, it's like we have to go through. I mean, I don't even think we've discussed our relationship this way.
Because no one wants to hear it. Because everyone lived it.
Yeah,
All of
yeah,
our
yeah.
friends
All of our
were
friends
there for it,
who
and
had
that's the
It's
to,
new
last
to
thing they
us.
yeah.
So
ever
we're
want to
like,
talk about ever again. All of our friends, like parang when they get reminded of that time, mainis yun. Like parang, can we please not return
Yes.
to us having
Yeah.
to pick sides?
Yeah. So, ayun, we made it.
It's not,
My God, I feel like I've just listened to like a trilogy or I watched a trilogy or just one of those never ending books that
it's
just
like
never.
parang, it's like a terrible parang Netflix romance
Yeah.
series, diba? Na parang, how
somehow,
can every episode have this much conflict? Well,
Yeah.
no,
it
Right.
it happens.
it's a
Did you
good
write your
show.
own? Did you write your own wedding vows? I'm curious what you
We
guys
did.
said to each other.
We did. His vows were great. He's a really good writer.
No, I
Yeah.
But
we both enjoyed both of our vows.
yeah, we did though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Parang I mean, and also like just describing the experience. Parang when we decided to be together nga, um, there was just so much emotional stability that I didn't know we had. Yun nga, parang as I said, like we didn't even fight about like our exes. I would actually even bring him up, and he wouldn't even like, you know what I mean? He wouldn't even parang get emotional, or parang, oh, that's a trauma word for me. That's a trauma point. Don't bring that up. Like we were very open, and so
Yeah.
parang that is really like a switch that happened with us, and
Mm.
yeah, so I'm very grateful for that we finally figured it out.
No, I think a lot of it is also understanding scale of things. Like
Mm.
parang Like parang now, I mean, pag-aawayan pa ba namin what
Yeah.
movie to watch when the things fought
Yes, that's why
we
we
fought
don't
about
fight
before.
now because we had so much shit already that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh come on, like this is stupid. Ganon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember
Yes.
parang I remember parang a
Yeah.
rule na parang we had when we were a little bit more stable na. Like siguro maybe like parang a year into like parang our relationship.
Yeah.
Um we just kind of like parang both agreed like parang the breakup is off the table. Like parang breaking up is off the table unless it's like parang some unforgivable whatever, right? Like parang if
Mm-mm.
there's
Mm.
infidelity or like parang I've been stealing money from you this entire time, like any of that stuff, diba? Or like
Yeah.
parang
Nagsusunduan na kayo or mga
or like
ganun,
parang
yeah.
you slap my mom in the face, like parang just something
Okay.
extreme like that. Unless it's something extreme like that, like parang we both agreed na parang look, like parang we've gone through enough shit, like and
Yeah.
we've gone through some really 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 big stuff,
and painful.
and we got through it and we're here. So if I'm late for dinner, if I forget that I was supposed to buy you a large Coke, not a regular Coke, like parang, can we just like parang
Let it go na.
discuss it, discuss it. If we need to argue about it, argue about it. But cardinal rule, breakup is off the table. And we said like parang soon as someone says break up, you have to understand the gravity of that word.
Yeah, because that brought us so much pain because we broke up so many
Yeah.
times.
So if I
Yeah.
hear you say breakup, I take that as, oh shit, you really truly mean this. Then that means we're done. If after everything we've been through, you're still willing to kind of like parang use that word, it only means
Mm.
one, you really, really mean it and we shouldn't be together anymore. Or two, you don't mean it. And even
Mm.
after this discussion, you're using it to manipulate the situation and just win the argument. Then I don't want to be with you even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like parang removed it from the options of our arguments. And well, we haven't broken up since.
Buti naman. It kind of
Oh,
became like a weapon, I guess, for the both of you na break na tayo. For
yeah.
Yeah.
whatever.
Ang
Oh.
hirap naman ng, I mean, people go through one or two major breakups, but not like, I think you guys went through a lot on that 2016. What's your advice for people that are going through breakups? Because medyo mahirap siya. Medyo.
Yeah.
um if you're broken up with someone, if you're
Mm.
broken up with someone, I know this might sound ironic coming from us, no? But if you're broken up with someone, think really, 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 really hard about getting back together with them. Because I take those things extremely seriously.
Mm.
Um, if you choose to end a relationship with someone, that means ayaw mo talaga eh. Diba? That means ayaw mo
Mm.
talaga. Or if you're breaking up with someone, pero ayaw mo naman talaga siya breakan, then you're not ready for a relationship. You're not ready for a mature relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be in one.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of like parang my advice. What's my advice to someone if you want to break up with someone but you can't bring yourself to do it?
There's no
I'm
right time.
I'm not the right person to ask.
Timing talaga. But I mean, okay, obviously we've gone through, it's not just one fork, there were so many forks on the road, and breakup seems to be the trauma word
Yeah.
of that we just heard. But I want to talk about after happily ever after, because yeah, sure, the wedding's always exciting. People are always happy at that one day, but there's so much more after that. And I'm curious on how you keep a relationship spicy after the wedding, after the, the fun flirtation kind of phase of dating.
We have this joke na before, parang, babe, landiin mo naman ako. Like randomly say it, like if I'm cooking, landiin mo naman ako. Like, you know what I mean? Because yun nga,
Yeah.
like us, we keep saying we've been through so much. But I think I always ask him. I always ask him. I was just like I think just last week I said, "Don't you miss like, the drama of like, I'm in this, oh, ano bang, give me a rap. I'm in Burrow in the Fort, and and then dadating ka, and then parang we don't know what's happening with us, but parang for that one night, we're just gonna drink, and then we're not gonna think about our problems, and then tomorrow we're gonna fight. Like, I ask him that all the time,
Yeah.
and his answer is always, I much prefer, like, this is what I was always imagining, like living this out. And now that I'm actually living it, like, there's nothing that I would trade, like, all, sure, the excitement, the drama, but he's like, but like, it, while all of that was happening, this is what I was wishing for, and I had that, this is my reality now. So parang he always says that, like the boring, the day to day, like, that's exactly what he wanted. And when you hear that, like, I could never say that even after getting married that we've had, like, our life is boring. You know what I mean? It's like, it's literally the best that we live together, and that I see him every single day. And I actually think that this pandemic is kind of unhealthy for me, because I am not used to not being, like, close to him. You know what I mean? Because it's, I
Yeah.
got married in the pandemic. So when
Yeah.
he, especially when I got pregnant, when he'd go out to do errands, I'd just be like waiting for him to return. Parang medyo ibang level na yung pagkaklingi, na medyo unhealthy na siya. But yeah, so, like, I think that's like how we continue to just keep enjoying each other's company. To, I guess, we remember um the drama and the not so good memories, and just how, like, a weekend, just spending time together on the couch watching, like, random shit is just so romantic to us. It's like, it's
Yeah.
really like, wow, this is what we were fighting for, basically. Diba? The
Yeah.
peace. The
That's super.
peace.
No,
Mm-hmm.
the like under strict definition of the word, your life as a couple becomes more boring after marriage. By strict definition. I mean, not just because of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, right? But because of lack of one activities that you are much more parang likely to do if you guys were single, and dating, and every date has to be different than the last date or whatever. Two, things to anticipate, diba? Like parang you're anticipating getting engaged. If you're in a serious relationship with someone, you're wondering, anticipating all the time, is he the one? Are we gonna get engaged? You're imagining your wedding, things like that. Those things are behind you now if you're married. So by strict definition, your life does become more boring, especially if it's in the pandemic. A good test that like parang I I I work a 9 to 5, and I'm I'm one of kind of like the older guys on the team that I'm on. Well, some of the guys there, they're dating, they're in serious relationships, and I've had conversations with them, and they've parang asked me questions like, "Oh, how do you know when you're ready to get engaged, get married, and stuff like that?" And like the boring part is parang the litmus test I have for them, and then I go, "Well, okay, imagine just you and this person in the same place, just doing the same thing on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, over and over and over and over again with the same person. If that if that boring routine
Excites you.
excites you, then
Yeah.
marry this person. Marry this person.
That's
If
cute.
if you are imagining that and immediately are thinking of, I wonder if I'll still get to play basketball with my friends. I wonder if because those things only become issues if the boring stuff isn't
Yeah.
tolerable for you, right? Like
Mm.
like for us now, like parang Bea would want nothing more than for me to kind of be able to play basketball with my friends once or twice a week, di ba? It's because hindi nagkukulang, eh, the time we do spend together.
Yes.
We try our best na hindi siya kulang. It doesn't always have to
Yeah.
be spicy or exciting or anything like, because we enjoy it. Like parang it's what I want to do. Like parang I have this thing I call lounge time, which is like parang after lunch before I get back to work, where I just parang lie down on the couch, and that's what I do. Like
Mm.
parang after 6, like parang it's lunch time for me, and that's all I want. Like parang that's all I really want is like parang to just kind of like parang lie down, watch TV with her. Um, and if you're at that point na you want that with someone, and hindi yung parang staycation one weekend. Like parang
Uh,
imagine mo isang buwan to lang yung gagawin nyo. Araw-araw habang buhay, ito
No,
lang
it's
yung gagawin nyo.
if you can't, it can, I can imagine like if it can really get you would
A
really
lot.
want, yeah, it could be a lot if you're not, if you're not happy with the the silence is deafening. You know how people say that, right? The
mm-mm.
Yeah.
silence is deafening. There's literally nothing going on. But if that doesn't, if that's okay with you guys, then you know what I mean. Like what more could you ask for? So I do get sad like when I hear jokes na parang like the husbands are like dying to play basketball, and the wives are upset about it. Like I that really like I
Yeah.
feel weird about it, because
Mm-mm.
I like that's not our truth. I mean, if you want to go do something, go do something, and if I need to do something, I'll do something. We're very respectful of like what we need,
Yeah.
because I think
Mhm.
we fulfill each other's needs. And if I feel like I'm like a little neglected because he's like too busy at work or whatever, like I literally just say so. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, you were so checked out this week. Like you need to you need to come back and we need to discuss. You know what I mean? Like there are things we
Yeah.
need to bond. And it's just a
Mm-mm.
matter of just communicating. You can be in a house and not talk.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
That's so easy to do that. So
Also, we've been married almost 10 months,
yeah.
so maybe ask us in 10 years. Baka
I
there are
know.
people who are married 15 years watching this and going,
Yeah.
di nyo lang alam. Di nyo lang
Hindi niyo
alam.
pala. Okay, so being 10 months married, if you had one piece of advice for people to keep their relationship healthy, what would it
Mm.
be?
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
I think it's not too. I would I would say it's like para not to get too high or too low,
Mm-mm.
because if you ask us what the difference is from when our journey was kind of like parang really rocky,
Yeah.
and the difference now is we reached such parang high levels of kind of just like parang emotion and thrill and joy and excitement and kilig and oh my god, I think I'm gonna see her tonight, and also just like the bottomest of the bottom pit of
Yeah.
just kind of like
Despair.
pain and like parang I can't do, you know how like parang how do you like I hope no one kind of understands how frustrating it is to know that this is the person that I will love the most in my life. I am the person that she will love
Mhm.
the most in her life. We can't make it work. And maybe we can't be together. Maybe like parang we've done too much. I p- like knowing that, right? Like parang knowing two pieces fit, pero ayaw lang talaga. Like parang
Mhm.
that's such a that's such a low feeling. Um,
Mm.
pero like parang when we are together, boom, skyrockets back up, diba? So my advice would be just to kind of like parang not get too high or too low, because
Yeah.
I mean to what Bea is saying, right? There's a good chance na parang we're not gonna be able to recreate the feeling of before na parang, oh, I'm going to borrow kasi I know someone told me may nag-IG story na nasa parang parking ng borrow
I
yung
love it.
eh, I'm just gonna parang conveniently show up there and then like parang
Yeah.
you actually see each other from across the room or whatever. There's a
Mm-mm.
good chance we're probably not gonna be
At saka ang
able
dami
to.
namin gano'n. Or yung tipo, I think he's listening because we were on the radio and like we
Yeah.
would send out songs just on the hunch na I think nakikinig siya ngayon kasi like maybe Kat Kat told me. Yung mga dami namin mga ganyan. Like, and
Yeah.
none of that exists anymore. So I think making peace and trying not to like parang you progress in your relationship. And just
Yeah.
because it's not exactly like the thrill of what it was doesn't mean there is no thrill in the mundane. If that
It's not worse.
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
It's
worse.
not worse.
You're just changing.
Yeah.
And
It's
you're changing
evolving. Yeah.
together. As long as you guys are moving together, moving forward together, then that's exactly where you want to be, you know.
Mm.
Um and it's funny, like we always like parang we always think about parang God, like we were out, like we would drink, and yung parang it's so different from what we're doing now, diba? Like I'm preparing a baby nursery, but it's
Mm.
a new season, diba? So
Like ako, like
why
parang
dwell on like the thrill of 2018, diba?
Mm-mm.
Like that's how I think we
like si Bea makes
Mm.
fun of me because like I don't reminisce.
he doesn't.
Like I don't.
Because you
Like
enjoy, you like really
Yeah,
appreciate
you
it
like
now. I
because that
think,
was the mistake I made.
yeah.
That was the mistake I made.
Yeah.
Is I was either thinking too far ahead or I was thinking of what was and like parang
Mm.
mistakes I made or what I could have done differently or how fun it was back then.
Mm.
And then I got to a point where I was thinking ahead na parang, de, one day we're gonna get married. I know it's kind of like shitty right now, I can't figure out,
Kids.
but I'm just looking forward to like parang being there and
Yeah.
getting married or whatever. Like parang I was never like present. So that's kind of like parang a deal like parang I've made with myself. It's dangerous. Like parang it's a very very slippery slope. Like parang
Mm.
if you keep because you don't remember things exactly how they are. You remember
mm,
them better or you remember them worse. You
yeah.
never
Mm.
remember things accurately. So it's super and obviously looking forward to the future is much worse because you have no idea, right?
Yeah.
So
Especially now. Yeah.
Mm.
so all you really have is where you currently are, 'di ba? And like parang look, I'm speaking from a position of privilege, right? Because like I'm married, like parang we have a baby on the
Yeah.
way. Like parang it's easy for someone who's listening to this and say, "Gago
Mm.
ka, it's easy for you to stay present and not reminisce about past times or
Yeah.
be hopeful for the future because you have it good."
Yeah.
And
Mm.
and what I would say is yes, no, exactly. Exactly. But if I
Yeah.
wasn't so present, then maybe I wouldn't be able to recognize how good I actually do have it, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what happens to people, right? It's not
Mm.
perfect. No, by all means, we don't have it perfect, right? We're as far away from perfect as anyone else, but we have it good.
Mm.
And there's a difference between settling for what you can get, which is not something you want, and being able to really appreciate what like parang what you've always wanted and what you fought for. Um, so that's where I am. That's where we are. And like parang as soon as like parang our baby's born, like I'm just gonna want to stay there. Like I don't want to go
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I don't want to go forward. I just want to be able to
Yeah.
like stay there.
Me naman, I'm like the
Yeah.
type that I need to kind of like I always like to remember what we've been through naman to
Mm.
appreciate. Like I'm just like sometimes I look at him and I'm like, wow, we got married. You know what I mean? Because it's like shit.
Yeah.
Like that was tough. And
Yeah.
that's what makes me so like parang yeah, I mean like that's my process to get to the present. Like I like to understand that we worked so hard for this. Like I always like to remind myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't get upset at him when he's like, nah, I don't miss it at all.
And
I'm like, don't you miss it? Like, and he's like, nah. I'm like, okay, so no.
and like I think that
Yeah.
that's also parang one thing like parang I want to combat is people always say na, oh, you guys get along so well. You guys have so much in common. We have very few things in common.
Yeah, we're not the same at all.
Very few things in common. Whether it's like parang
Yeah.
what we like, what we don't like, whether it's what we're used to, what we're not used to, our internal processes, what works for us, what doesn't work for
How we were
us.
raised.
Yeah, like parang those things are very very different,
Yeah.
and that's important. It's important to acknowledge that because like parang you could be you could be hunting for someone who's a lot like you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not always gonna work. It's not
Yeah. I
always gonna
read
work.
something like where you're not supposed to date your twin, but I guess it depends on the situation. I wonder, okay, you guys don't, like you said, don't have a lot in common, but do you think that maybe honesty is the best policy, or like the vulnerability that you guys shared is why it becomes so stable? Because
Yeah.
like you've just
Oh
talked
yeah.
about
Like
everything.
that was a deal we made with each other. Like no matter how ugly it is, parang you
Yeah.
tell me, like if you did something wrong, like you confess, say
Okay.
tell me now. So we don't really, I mean, so I remember right before we got married, um I sat him down and I said, I need to I need to talk. And this was kind of like a shift. Well, I mean, I always knew I wanted to marry him, but this was kind of like the bam, okay, let's get married right now, with the way he responded. So there was basically like this situation where parang he was out of the country at the time. Kami na nito this was like 2019. And like there was just this guy that, kind of would always kind of flirt with me, but like obviously like wala akong pake sa kanya. And
Yeah.
so what happened was he was out of the country, and like I bumped into the guy, and he was just very like it was just a very super labo night. And because hindi kami nag-uusap that time, hindi ko nasabi in the moment. So parang syempre he knows that guy is kind of attracted to me. So parang I was caught in a pickle na parang okay, he's on a work trip. Like when do I tell him? And I wasn't like gonna hide it from him because I don't care about this person. But it was more of
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't want to upset him. And so parang because we always communicate, the window of opportunity just like so I kind of forgot about it also. And then right before we got married, you attend those mga seminar, whatever. You're always talking about like like honesty in the purest way. And it all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was like, oh, there's something that he doesn't know. Like he doesn't know that this guy like showed up in the condo that I was living. I was with my friends naman, but you know what I mean? It's just like sobrang shit di niya alam. So now I was like, oh my god, we're like 2 months away from getting married. Like, how do I
Yeah.
tell him? And this isn't even like a cheating situation, but like
Yeah.
that's how like the burden of like the secret was in the
Yeah.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat him down. I told him. And at first he was so hurt by the fact that it was siguro mga 6 months na. Kasi nga, we don't keep secrets. So he
Yeah.
was just staring at me. He was just like, "Right, how could you not have told me this? Like, it's so basic, it's so simple." And then, syempre, I was saying sorry. And then I really told him like everything that happened. This is what he said. I'm so sorry that you had to carry that burden for so long. It must have been so hard to not tell me. And then I was just like, why are you saying sorry to me? Then he was just like, because I feel so bad because I know how we are. Like I know how we always need to tell each other things. And sabi niya, maybe I didn't do a good enough job making you feel like, I'm secure enough with this person doesn't bother me. Sabi niya, maybe I gave you a hard time and that's why you didn't want to tell me. And that's really how I felt. Parang I didn't want to upset him
Yeah.
because I knows that like I know that he knows this person is attracted to me. So parang hindi ko na ikukwento. And then he said, and that's my fault because you're supposed to be able to like tell me anything and be like, "Oy,
Yeah.
may lumalandi sa akin." And parang that's not your fault na may lumalandi sa'yo. 'Di ba? Hindi mo naman kasalanan 'yun, ikaw yung linapitan eh. But so he said sorry but to me after I said sorry to him. And then that's when I was just like, I found the one, guys. Like it's like what is this? This is ako pa yung may kasalanan dito. So it was a very parang it was an experience I never wanted to have to do again. But I was like, I'm never gonna keep something from him, no matter how big or how small. And I think that's just how we are with like, I mean, there's nothing to keep right now, but you know what I mean? Like in the
Yeah.
past, that's
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's why he was hurt because he's just like, this? You didn't tell me this? Parang ano ba to? Parang bakit ganyan? So we used to say that we were too honest with each other. Painfully honest na parang medyo OA na, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only way to go. Like that's really the only way to go with relationships.
Yeah, and I think like parang again, like parang My wife does a too good of a job parang making me look like I'm better than I am. But that's not special. It, it's not. It's not for everyone who's listening to this and is single or whatever, right? Like parang it's not special. That shouldn't be looked at and commented at as something na parang, oh, grabe naman yung Nico. Grabe, sobrang bait mo na. No, that's bare minimum. Because essentially, what that kind of like parang story illustrates is that if you're in a relationship with someone, there's nothing that is truly there's nothing that's truly done by someone by themselves. Everything is an effect of the both of you, right? Like parang her not being able to be comfortable enough to tell me that if I was less mature, right? I would just been like, you kept a secret from me. That's your fault. I'm hurt. Make it up to me, right? But in reality, that's not. We all know, like, parang that's not how it works, right? There's a cause and effect with everything. There's a reason why you didn't tell me something that harmless, right? Because it was like a harmless story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, if it was an actual kind of like parang issue, then I can understand. But like the way I saw it was, here's something harmless. I haven't provided you a safe enough environment to tell me something harmless. I'm therefore, whether I intended to or not, there's some fault in me as well. There's something that I have to improve, and that's not special.
Like that's yeah.
That's that's what you should come to expect with the person that you are with. Just the
It's
fact that the fact that and these are basics, right? And I hate to speak in absolutes because they're almost never true. But in a truly
Yeah.
healthy relationship, when and if you're at this point and start thinking about getting married, right? If the winner of arguments no longer matters, that's super important. Um, if the scorecard does not exist, that's super
Yeah.
important because what that now allows you, it allows you to be in a space in a relationship where like I can tell you something that's wrong and you're going to help me in that process figure out how it doesn't happen again in the future.
Without making me feel like shit.
And both
yeah.
of us have to play a part in it,
Yeah.
right? Uh, so when she tells a story like that, the one thing I always say right after is, "Hey, it's not special, huh?" Like parang all healthy couples will tell you. There are healthy couples watching this going, "The hell's the big deal with that? It's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do." Because yeah, I mean, that's it, di ba? Like parang ayuda, di ba? Parang ayuda ngayong COVID, di ba? Like parang you shouldn't thank the government for 1,500
Yeah.
ayuda. Because guess what? It's not enough even. It's bare
Mhm.
minimum.
I
But
mean,
like
it's
that's
surprising that it's not special nga, but it's also surprising that it's not as common as you think. And not a lot
exactly.
of people or relationships are that healthy. I
Yeah.
really believe na
I've heard I've
magka-golden
heard
anniversary dito.
no, I've heard that na parang that's your secret to keep or para sa'yo
Mm-mm.
na lang yan. 'Di ba? We've heard that before na parang he doesn't need to know that because that's something that you needed to go through on your own. Especially enter before marriage. Like people will
Mm-mm.
say that like do I tell him, do I not? And I wanted to I wanted to say my vows to him, making sure na okay, like even the smallest things and something that I actually forgot about. Parang when it hit me. I couldn't ignore it. I was like, oh shit. Like I remember this now and like it's not hidden. So I really have to get it out. And you'd be surprised how hard it was to kind of just be like, okay, here is my, here's my mini confession. And so yeah, it's not exactly always so easy to be so truthful in relationships, but voila, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm
Yeah. Sorry. Are we still
Share
like are
your
we
like starstruck or awestruck, whatever. What is
I
the
know. I
word
feel
for
it. Like
this?
I said, feeling ko there's gonna be like a golden wedding anniversary one day. And we're gonna do the same feeling, and we're gonna do the same interview.
We can do it like Foxy and 50 or whatever age we're in that
We'd be
stage.
80, Bea.
Oh,
50 years
I've
from now,
obviously
80 years
stopped
higher.
time.
Okay, so
Are
here's
we too
my
serious?
no. We like it.
This is
We like
brilliant. Like
conversations like this.
just going through everything you've gone through and just knowing that it really takes like it's not there's not a one tip kind of thing, you know.
No.
It's something you all have to go through. But yeah, go ahead, Shari.
I guess my question is, people say that the moment you could be living together or boyfriend girlfriend for 10 or 20 years, but the moment you're married, there's like this level of security that you kind of shed that last layer of skin that you guys have. So, what was the most surprising thing that you both discovered about each other, good or bad, or or funny or whatever, when you got married?
So I think for us it wasn't, I guess, too big of a shock
Mm.
because
Yeah.
we never lived together, but both of us had lived on our own
Yeah.
for years. Like I think before I got married, I'd been living on my own maybe 9.5 years, and then Bea was also living with a roommate away from her parents. So uh, I think that the practical side of it is sometimes what catches married people off guard. Diba? Like, parang it's the first time they're moving out of their parents' house and like maintaining a household on your own, regardless of how big or small that household is. It's pretty challenging. Um, so that was a big help for us
Yeah,
when
like living alone, like learning how to live independently before moving in and, being this unit.
Mm-mm.
But
yeah, like parang there are things like parang you parang discover, especially like parang when we moved into a house, diba? Like parang
what
um,
did you discover
like
about
parang
me?
previously sa like parang if you're in a condo there are only so many doors, diba? Like parang Bea closes
Yeah.
no door. Like parang I think she walks around the house with the sole intention of just opening them, just like to open them. Like parang I don't, to be honest with you, do not have a mental picture in my head of my wife closing a door that she opens. Like parang, I can't. Like parang, I can't.
Whoops.
Like parang, if I
But
could pick out
opening.
that memory, like parang Harry Potter, like parang Dumbledore
Wala.
would like, wala.
Wala.
Because
Opening doors, but yeah,
I've seen
okay.
it happen probably 6 times, like parang in our married life. Um, yeah, so it's
But
little things like that.
yeah, but those things like yeah, those things can irk people, I guess. Like I can imagine how people that can like drive people crazy. Like sometimes I do get
Yeah.
annoyed that like cuz I'm a morning person. I mean, obviously now like I'm having a hard time sleeping because I'm pregnant, but I am up at like 6. Like that's me. I'm like up at 5 quarter or
Yeah.
5:30. I'm like he I don't honestly, I have no idea how he did like a morning show for years and years at a time because this man will be asleep till like 10. And so it's like
Mm.
sometimes I feel parang you know what I mean? I'm just like waiting for him to wake up and like,
Yeah.
spend the morning with me. Voila. So I've just like killed that dream that we'll have like coffee together. He's gone, like he's asleep and it's just voila.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel bad, but like I just think na parang I'm sure there are nights where he wants to talk to me and I'm just like
Mm.
knocked out. So wala, hindi kami nag-meet in that sense. Another thing that I really discovered about him is that he could eat the same thing every single day, like, and it
What
won't
is
matter.
it?
Chicken,
What
he can
is
just
it?
eat chicken every single day,
I love
like
chicken also.
I
Team
know, but
chicken.
like every day, like
Yeah.
that's it. Like nothing else. Like like don't ask him what to eat. Yung mga small things na
Oh,
ganyan,
I'm the worst person to ask kasi like parang if food is good or bad.
he'll just eat. Parang he just
There's a
eat.
set quantity of food that I must consume so that mabusog ako.
Yeah,
It
ganun
doesn't
lang
really
siya.
matter what that food is.
So that's it's just stuff
Oh.
like that. But I didn't. I think we knew each other naman enough, um, that nothing was like parang, ito pala yung kinasal kong tao. Like, it was, we didn't naman have moments like that. Um, uh, another thing that I discovered about him is he's very he always needs to be like thinking. So from the moment he gets up, like he's playing a podcast and like there's just sound surrounding him. He's just like always like needs to be processing, like, you know. So sometimes it's like
It's an attention thing. Like parang, di ba? Like, I feel like parang if I'm 5 years old right now, like parang I would get diagnosed so easily. But
Mm.
like
yeah,
parang if I get uncomfortable, like parang not doing anything, I get uncomfortable in silence, I get uncomfortable, like parang not reading or listening. Like parang I always have to constantly be stimulated and stuff
Yes.
like that. Like parang
it's
Yeah.
very
I'm
interesting.
sure it's kind
And
of like
sometimes you're
parang
just like, my God, parang kakagising mo lang. Tapos, alam mo yun, yun na nga, he doesn't even wake up early and then he'll play a
Yeah.
podcast. And you're just like, okay. It's just small, stupid shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
we're not yung
Yeah.
tipong parang, oo, nag-aaway kami because there's a certain way that I want the house or like he's too dirty, you know, mga ganyan. Like, there's just,
Wala.
yeah, we've been able to coexist. I mean, and again, it's only been 10 months. So I
Yeah.
think
But it's been longer. You've known each other since 2011, but you've
and you
gone
know
through
you
so
know
much.
I know what I think traveling together helps. We've never lived together, but we've traveled together, and I think traveling with your partner does a lot, diba? Like you
Mm-mm.
really see like what they're, and then you parang there's just you're so prone to arguments kasi when you're traveling because there's just like so much you want to do,
Yeah.
and we've traveled several times together now. So I think that kind of helped also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ayun, like that's pretty much us. We're very boring these days. but
No,
we
this
had
is the most exciting story I've heard so far.
but we had
I
a
just
very yeah, eventful lead up
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
it.
but
So
it's so rewarding to get to that point of stability. And I guess it comes to our last question and my favorite. Um, what is love?
I think it's like parang not to kind of like parang be a romantic or anything like that, no. But however many songs or movies or novels or poems have been made, written or produced about love, um it's not enough, right? Like parang we've all the world's best artists have not been able to kind of like parang scratch the surface of what love is, right? And if you if you agree and if you kind of like parang I'm not sure I verbalize it well, but if you kind of can identify with that statement, then you felt it or you're feeling it.
Mm.
Um if it's kind of like parang sudge, then you've never been in love is
Yeah.
is what I would say.
Nico,
People fall it's
our
impossible to not be a romantic if you fall in love. Like parang
yeah.
I don't even siguro there was a time in my life when I was much cooler or I tried to be much cooler. Um but
Yeah.
like parang now like parang I have no problem. Like I have no I have no problems with playing a Taylor Swift album on repeat all day, much to my wife's chagrin. Like the reason I like her is she's a romantic. And the reason I like pop songs is because pop songs are
Yeah.
about like parang the cheesiest, most romantic things about love. Because
Yeah.
that's what love is, diba? Like it all the cheesy shit you've ever heard, seen or read about it, it's true. It's real. And yeah, and like parang I wish for everyone to kind of be able to experience it and relate with it.
Mm.
I
yeah.
mean, money is such a powerful, powerful, powerful thing in the world we live in. There's not nearly enough poems written about money as there are about love.
I love that. How about you, Bea?
I mean, I guess for me, if there's anything that I mean, I can't really define it, obviously, but I have had so many like I have had so many moments in our relationship where I literally cannot stand the thought of not experiencing every bit of life with this person. You know what I mean? Like I cannot imagine, and I don't want to imagine like my life without this person. And it's a very overwhelming feeling that sometimes I just randomly start crying and he says, "Ba't ka umiiyak?" I'm like, we just love each other, right? It's like, you know what I mean? And it hits me at random points. And, even um, just talking about the stages in life that we were in and the highs and the lows, that,
Yeah.
that love was always constant, that overwhelming feeling. No matter what we were going through, like I always felt it. There was always that presence. I always just knew that it was there. And I think like, that's really what love is, and that's what our love has come to be. And it's I would be absolutely devastated like if I could not like experience life with this person. Like that's how it is. Like it's just like the worst possible scenario. And like yeah, I just can't I can't picture it, and I don't want to picture it. And like there's this song actually, like this band that I follow. They released a song like I want to love it, and then their line was, "I want to love you till it's devastating." And because that's it, it's still death do us part, right? And so
Yeah.
like sometimes when I think of like us growing old, and it's I have to stop because I need to be in this moment right now, because I need to experience like every single bit of what like God is gonna give us as a couple. And like that is just like that's it for me. Like I'm just so happy in this relationship. And it's just, I don't know, it's just like a stability and a peace that you just can't explain, no? So like that's like I think when I when we got married, like that's what I wrote in my vows, na parang he is always in my corner, like propping me up, like ready to like face the world with me. And yeah, I just feel like I'm set for whatever it is life is going to throw because I'm with this person. And I think like that's also love, you know what I mean? Having that sense of that security, that you're just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, sorry, but you're next to me and it's gonna be okay. So yeah, that's like kind of like how I describe my relationship with Nico.
Yeah, but less about us and kind of like parang I guess more about or more for the purpose of the people
Yeah, no,
who
like
are
if you're just,
listening
yeah, if
to
you're
this.
describing it.
Yeah, love is
Yeah.
easy. It's supposed to be easy. Relationships are hard.
Okay.
Relationships,
I was gonna
regardless of
say.
how in love you are, relationships are hard. They're hard work. We work at it every day. And
Yeah.
some days there's a lot of work to be done. Some days there's not a lot of work to be done. Some days it doesn't feel like work, right? Relationships are the tough part. It shouldn't be difficult for you to love someone, for you to feel love towards someone, for you to tell even just yourself, I love this person. That should be the easiest thing. If it's not easy, then you're not in love with that person. It's a
Yeah.
again, I hate speaking in absolutes, but that's a pretty universal litmus test. Is it easy for you to say, even just to yourself, like parang in a dark corner under your sheets
Sobrang
at
mahal ko
night, na
ko
parang
tong taong to.
etong tao na to, mahal ko to. Like, and I believe that. I love that. That should be the easiest thing in the world. Because when you
You
feel
guys?
love, like parang
Can't deal.
like it pours out of you. Like you can't help it. Like I don't know. Like this is a physical. Yeah.
Manifestation.
Like parang
Yeah.
this is like parang I don't know. Like sweat coming out of you when you're tired. If it's not that, it's not love, right?
Yeah.
It should be
Mm.
easy to kind of
It should be pleasant.
say that
Yeah.
you love it. Just that act of like para, and it's an exercise I guess the single people can do, right? Like parang
Yeah.
when if you're asked who do you love, who are you in love with, diba? Whether that's your boyfriend, your crush, your office mate, your whatever, your ex, whatever, right? And that's a test, right? Okay, then kind of like parang can you look at yourself in the mirror and say I love blank, whoever that person is. Like, does that feel weird? Does that feel difficult? If it's
Yeah.
easy to
Huh.
say, then congratulations, you're in love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shari, are you in love? Look at the mirror.
I love you, Georgia.
You know what? Georgia never barks, but when you were describing love, she definitely had a
Oh,
reaction there.
Georgia
She
will
my
know.
sound. I turned it off. Meron siyang sound
She
effects. Like, oh
never
shit.
ever makes a sound. So you guys are spot on. And I
Yeah.
think that's so, and I have to say, Nico, I think you have a lot of litmus tests that everyone needs to know. So
Yeah.
labas mo
I
lang
mean,
yan.
hopefully it makes sense for people. We
Yeah,
only
it
try our best.
does.
Bea and I are kilig to the bones already. We love this
Ayoko.
conversation. So,
We need
Nico
to-
and Bea, thank you so much for indulging us. Bea, before we end, tell us, what did you learn today from our dear guests?
I'm always speechless when we do like I think relationship interviews, but the one that really stands out from this entire episode is the IKEA analogy, where sometimes you do just have the right person in front of you, but it's like you have to work out the relationship, which is a lot more complicated, and you just have to make your own manual if you can't understand the manual that's been given to you. So that's
Exactly.
mine. How about you?
Exactly the same. I guess I'll tie it up to the last part when you said that love is easy, relationships are hard, which ties up to the IKEA analogy also. Yeah, again, kilig. Kakatawa kayo na, alam ko, parang perfect na kayo plot for a Netflix. Not a cheesy Netflix. Sort of cheesy, but
Yeah.
Very
exciting
dramatic. Yeah.
show.
I think
Diba?
people
Okay
need to
yan.
make a film. We should pitch this
People
to
will watch
the
it and say like, parang there's no way this is real, or ang drama naman itong
Ang
dalawang
drama naman
to.
ng dalawang to. Ano ba yan? But no, but
Dapat,
really, thanks for like listening through the phases, because parang
yeah.
in order to really like, 'di ba, parang make everyone understand the gravity of like the situation, you really have to like walk through the journey. And so it took a little bit of time to explain. So thanks for indulging us
This is such a
and listening
pleasure.
to us.
And how do people keep in touch with both of you if they have more dying love questions or mga second chance? Alam mo na.
Message Bea.
Yeah,
Bea takes the time.
he never reads his DMs. So
I
yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
try. Bea's just much
No,
better
he's
at
just
it than I am.
busier. Yeah, you could just message us on Instagram. That's
Yeah.
like the way to reach us at Bea Fabregas at Nico RMS. But maybe
Maybe wait a few months after we
yeah.
give birth and we've
Oh,
caught up
yeah.
on sleep.
yeah,
Uh,
congratulations. How exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we were able to do this before I like
we
went
accomplished the goal.
went into labor.
The goal was not to go into labor during the interview, so we
That would
did
have
that.
been
Yeah.
exciting.
I know.
What an episode. Thank you so
Ratings.
much for having us.
But yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. And I guess like just a heads up everyone that's listening to the show, this is such a pleasurable, overwhelming love story that we're gonna take a break for 2 weeks actually. 2 weeks or 3 weeks, Sherry. Can't
Two
remember.
weeks. Yeah, more or less. 2 weeks. No
Yeah.
live for
So
2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah, we're not because Sherry and I are gonna be mobilizing in different
Mhm.
places, but we'll keep everyone posted. And again, we hope that this episode really did quench your thirst, and we want to hear your success and I guess mga budol stories and love. So go to thirstyand30.club and send us the stories. We want the bad and the good. And yes, keep in touch with us on our socials and please stay thirsty because it pays to do a bit of research, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. And yeah, thank
Stay
you.
thirsty, everybody. Bye.
Thanks,
Thirsty
guys.
and 30.